It's 420, everybody.
You didn't give Dave 5 seconds for everything, Jake. And you're right, it is 420 when we record this, but
it does help, but I think we're good.
Dave, what? I just did it. God damn it, I told you guys at the beginning. Let them finish their sentence before you speak. And so Dave broke the rule first, and then forced me to break the rule, and Tyler still hasn't finished his goddamn sentence. We cannot keep talking over each other.
So yes, it is 420. If Dave's cackling a little more than usual, we just know that he celebrated. Your eyes are as red as the jersey you're wearing.
I'm pretty clear.
Oh, yeah. So, pro tip, if you ever find yourself in a civil war with muskets and the general on the other side says, "Don't shoot till you see the whites in their eyes," get real fucking blazed. And then they won't see the whites in your eyes. They'll be pink and they will be confused and not shoot you.
I think that'd be a really awful way to be stoned, is in the middle of the Civil War.
I don't know, man.
The food sucked. There's probably not a whole lot of water around for when you get fucking cotton mouth.
Well, they would make the food better.
Anyway, this is the Tire Preference Podcast. I'm Tyler, situated in Eugene, Oregon. And...
My name's Dave. Hey, I'm Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Today I am drinking a Sentimental IPA.
Well, you're not drinking it yet. It's still closed.
I know, but I just had one, so here's my empty.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
And it's a, let's see, Soulcraft Brewing, Salida, Colorado. So it's a local brew-ish, 7%. That's what I'm dropping in tonight, 7%. So I'm gonna go slow. I don't want it to happen like last week. I got a little too drunk. Sorry, fellas.
But don't.
It's all good.
Yeah, you were also like the most talkative you've been. So I think like.
But
think you were
as I was
10,
editing, I could
7.
As I was editing, I could see myself go, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is embarrassing."
We're all our own worst enemy.
I'm gonna back it up really quick because I didn't say what I was drinking. Got the Ninkasi Tricera Hops Double IPA, which this bad boy dangles at 8.0% alcohol by volume, and this is the last one that I have, and I have 2 others that I previously drank on the podcast, so I'm not going to name them by name.
So I'm starting out the night with one of my faves, Obsidian Stout. It's hitting the scales at 6.4 tons, and
yeah, no shit, because it's a stout.
Yeah, it's great. And then
that's how heavy you feel after you drink.
I say, I was like lead pellets in your stomach.
Wait till you see my second rounder. I found a little treat today at the L store. It's a 16 ounces of straight motor oil.
Jesus, what is it?
Is that what it's called?
The Narwhal Stout.
Narwhal Stout.
Yes.
You know what's funny? My wife said for a long time, I think she was joking, not 100% serious. She didn't think the narwhal was a real animal.
Oh, it looks like the unicorn of the sea, so I understand why you wouldn't.
But that narwhal's coming in at 11.8, and it's one of my absolute favorite imperial stouts.
Gosh.
Man, that's a heavy one. All right, have fun with that. Good luck. Wear a helmet.
That's some gnarly narwhal over there.
No woes. All right, so yeah, this is the Tire Preference Podcast. Today is a bit of an in-between episode because we're in between 2 race weeks. Well, this is a race week, but we didn't have a race last weekend, so we're talking about the news. This could be a news-heavy podcast. Some things to talk about, some opinions to have. And then I also did a little bit of a research, and by a little bit, I mean like 7 hours.
Jesus. You said this was a light float.
So if anyone
episode. It wasn't a dive.
If anyone is listening that has ever done research before, 7 hours is barely scratching the fucking surface.
That's true.
I only have a page. The last one I did with the Austin Mart was like 8 pages long.
That was 25 paragraphs, I think you said it was, something like that.
Yeah, and Jake's handwriting, which is just big block letters that takes up half the paper.
No, my handwriting is in New Times Roman, so.
So I looked into, we'll start off with Red Bull news. I could say that it was a fuel delivery issue last week that caused Max Verstappen to not crash out, but
retire
to retire from the race. What would have been like an easy second place for him.
Did they confirm that? That's confirmation.
That is what I can find written in two of the news stories that I read. I couldn't, because it had been a week since it had happened, so I hadn't really nothing was like coming across any of the news channels that I was looking at definitively saying like this what the problem was. But I think it didn't say that it was a fuel delivery issue. So then there was a news story with Helmut Marko, and he was talking about how Max Verstappen's a ticking time bomb right now because he hasn't finished 2 out of the last 3 races. Yeah. So I was just trying to think of like what Max would look like as a time bomb. And since I imagine to be just like his father, like he's just gonna walk off the racetrack and then start just aggressively packing up the Red Bull garage, just like throwing fucking tools and shit in the back of a semi truck, and then he leaves Christian Horner at a fucking gas station. And
well, you know what it's gonna be is it's gonna be a slightly smaller tent, like you know those model tent they have at like Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah.
That's the tent he tears down. Yeah, his dad won't let him have a big tent yet.
even though you're the world champion son, you're still my son. So you get the tiny tent. But yeah, I just imagine like Sergio Perez is just out on the track and he's doing really well, and then it cuts to like his radio and he radios in, and then like the radio beams back to him and it's just chaos in the background with Max screaming and throwing shit. And I'm just like, Checo, I'd stay out of the pit if I were you.
So speaking of Red Bull, I read a little bit about Red Bull today and how they are going to introduce 2 major updates to their car this weekend, which after reading the Ferrari thing,
isn't Ferrari doing the same thing?
No, Ferrari's doing a lot.
I knew they had a bunch of upgrades coming up.
Not this race though. Matteo Benito said, "I only want mini upgrades, baby upgrades, because it's a sprint weekend and they get less practice time." And he goes, "I think it's dumb to do anything major because you get less track time, practice time to iron it out." But Mercedes and Red Bull are like, "We want them big upgrades." So Mercedes is getting an entirely redesigned front wing, and they're dropping 8 kilos from the car, which to drop
heavy.
The 8 kilos,
that's a lot.
Well, but it also cost them a lot. And with the cost caps, these are very expensive kilos to the tune of about, I think it was like $225,000 per kilo, or like $1.2 million to drop this weight.
Why does it cost so much to drop that weight?
They had to get Lewis Hamilton on a new diet, so he wasn't eating his feelings about this season.
You mean Max Verstappen? Because it was the Red Bull that are dropping the weight, not Mercedes.
You said it was Mercedes.
You said Mercedes.
Oh, well, I meant Red Bull. Red Bull's doing that. No, yeah, Red Bull is dropping the weight and they get a whole new wing. Mercedes is their big upgrade is getting the side pods back.
They're putting the side pods back on because that experiment didn't work, huh?
Yeah.
Well, so they didn't have a lot of aero time, and all their data says that without the side pods, they should be a second faster around the track than they are, which would be putting them up on the top. But it's not happening.
Somebody fucked that up in the email, and it's just like, no. If you have the big side pods on, you will be a second faster. Like the little side pods, you'll be a second slower, and somehow that got backwards.
Dyslexic.
So
somebody forgot to move a decimal point or something.
But yeah, exactly. It's all they're big upgrades for both cars respectively, and it's happening on kind of a weird weekend where not only is it a sprint weekend, but it could rain, which is a whole other.
Yeah, the chances for rain in Imola this year, little less than last. I think last year it rained the whole weekend, didn't it?
Yeah.
This year I know it's a heavy chance on Friday for practice and qualifying, and then Saturday a little less of a chance, and then a little warmer, and then on Sunday a little less of a chance. I don't know about temperature, but chance of rain the whole weekend. So we might be racing in the wet again.
Well, I saw the temperature for Sunday, and it's the high is supposed to be 66 degrees.
Yeah, I saw between 16 and 20 degrees.
Yeah, that's like mid to high 60s to mid to low 70s.
It didn't have a conversion on it, and I didn't have time to convert or the energy, so I was just like, okay, 16 to 21 degrees.
Right.
Sounds
Well,
good.
when I looked it up, it automatically did it in Fahrenheit, but I didn't think it would. And it said 66 degrees, and I thought that was Celsius. So I was like, Jesus Christ.
Well, they're not gonna have tire blankets on.
Yeah, no shit.
That's for sure.
They're not gonna have anybody in the stands either after the burst.
Yeah, we're gonna need you guys to drive faster to keep the tires off of the car.
Yeah,
off the ground.
I think I'm excited to see if if any of the upgrades will help the fuel delivery system for Red Bull, and if the side pods will help Mercedes out. I'm willing to bet Mercedes is willing to try anything at this point now that they are doing as well as they have been doing this year.
Well, I mean, given what they got, I think they're doing okay, but they're not as a Mercedes team.
They definitely don't look like Mercedes.
Yeah, I mean,
not at all.
They're
but
not doing as shitty as like Aston Martin.
It could be worse. Like you said, they're second in the constructors, right?
Yeah, they are second.
They're second in constructors
because of the double retirement that Red Bull had.
They've had a couple podiums.
I just love the shit-eating grin on Toto Wolff's face that first race when both the Red Bulls didn't finish and they had just lost the world championship like months beforehand.
All right, so continuing about the news, Ferrari is looking to make tiny little upgrades to its car because they're doing pretty good. They don't really need a lot. So one thing that they really want to do is they really, really want to figure out this porpoising thing. And once they do that, they can lower the car a wee bit more and get more out of that ground effects thing, which will make the car even faster around the track. Well, and that brings me back real quick to Mercedes, who also have a lot of porpoising things, but they're different than Ferraris. Their porpoising happens a lot more in the corners and like on the exits of corners and through braking and stuff, where Ferraris usually just happens on the straights, which is a little bit more manageable. And they think that half the reason that could be because they got almost no testing because they won the Constructors Championship last year. So all their free practice sessions have just been testing to figure this shit out. They think that because the side pods aren't on there, there's less structural integrity and it's causing the car to flex more like a bow. And that's what's causing the porpoising. So that's why they want to put them side pods back on.
Yeah. I mean, that porpoising, like, you're right. Theirs is in the turns and stuff, and like on camera, it doesn't look as bad as Ferraris, but that's got to be nerve-wracking when you're like locking the steering.
Well,
yeah, I was gonna say how like what's how do you fix like obviously Mercedes, they have a plan that they hope helps. What is Ferrari? I mean, like, how are they going to fix that? Because that is some epic porpoising they have happening.
Well, it is, and it looks really bad, but like Leclerc said last race, the porpoising doesn't bother him that much. He just barely even notices it, and I think it shows there's evidence that it is not bothering him.
Would it be better? Would he be better if it wasn't there?
If there wasn't any porpoising, they could lower the car and get more downforce from the ground effects, and the car would just be faster across the board.
That's a tough fix. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but
I mean, with them doing as well as they are, like, I don't know if I'd want to fuck with anything either. I mean,
well, and that's kind of what Matteo said. He's like, we're doing good, but we need to figure it out because we want to be, because other teams are going to start figuring their shit out. If we don't improve, then we're just going to get caught in the wind. Yeah. But
I'm expecting Leclerc like in middle of the season, like, and Charles Leclerc is out of this race because he has 2 detached retinas and like a slipped disc or something.
It's probably taking a toll on his body. I'm sure.
Al, racing just does, though. I mean, the porpoising is, the bouncing up and down that happens on the fucking racetrack when the racetrack's a little loosey goosey or wavy.
That life hardens the piss out of you. I mean, look at fucking not Sergio Perez, but Fernando Alonso. Like, he's only 30 years old. He looks like shit.
No, he's almost 40.
he's a year older than me. We have the same birthday.
He's just aged.
Yeah, he was born July 28th, 81. He's 41 years old, or 40 years old. He'll be 41.
Wow.
Right.
Well, that was Laugh.
Like I said earlier, Matteo is not going to do any major upgrades this week because of the sprint race, which let's talk about
Sprint
that.
race.
Yay! Wait, is that the end of the news?
Not
No,
necessarily.
this is still kind of news.
because
It's a
I
sprint
have
race.
a theory on why Ferrari's making slight changes to their car.
Okay. All right.
Well,
So it looks.
let me finish my segue into the sprint race because we're not going to talk. I'm not going to talk at length about it, just the new rules, and then we can talk about the why there might have to be a bit of a difference between two of the cars.
Yeah.
Although I saw the side by side, and I don't think they look the same.
So, those, are we going to talk about the sprint race or that?
The sprint
Let's
race,
talk-
real quick,
Real
Okay.
quick. All right.
just to finish my segue. So, the sprint race basically, this is a race before the race to determine the starting grid, except for first place now. For the actual race, it gives the teams that maybe don't have a good place in qualifying a better chance to start higher up on the grid. So it used to be the top three finishers got points. I think it was like 3, 2, 1 points, but that's changed to 8 with for like first place getting 8 points, and then that goes all the way down to 8th position.
Eighth place. Yeah.
Mhm.
Pole position is going to be, you're going to win that regardless if you got it during the Q3 qualifying on Friday.
So if
So-
you get,
So you can
sorry, go on.
you can get pole position Q3 on Friday,
Yes.
and not like you could come in 8th in the sprint and you still got pole position.
You still get pole position during the race.
I don't know if I like that.
I don't like it either. I think
I
it's
don't
kind of
like
silly.
Is it just
all.
an extra points grab now? Then I thought it determined the grid order.
It
It
does from
should
second on.
That's
Which is
kind of
stupid.
Stupid.
should-
Yeah. When did that start?
Because then it's
This-
like if
I don't
you
remember.
get-
I'm about to say I don't remember that happened last year. I don't know if that's cool. That
if
sucks.
you get if you get Q1 or if you get pole in Q3, then what's the fucking point of you even joining in the sprint race then? Like, you
Okay,
just-
okay, hold on. Pump the brakes there, bud.
Oh, did you
Pump
fuck
the-
up there, Bucko?
I fucked up there pretty hard.
Yeah.
Oh,
I misread
God.
it. I misread it. So the accolade you
So
get.
You get to have the I got pole position for this race
Yes,
weekend.
you get that sticker in your
But-
notebook.
What you finish on Saturday is what you start on Sunday.
Yes,
Okay.
I was gonna
Well,
say
that makes more
didn't sound
sense.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I was
right.
say I wouldn't even race on I wouldn't do the sprint.
No.
There's also
I
there's
gotta
also
risk
more
fucking up my
money,
car.
more money incentives for doing races.
Yeah, you give them points.
Well,
Points
not
are-
just points, but every team that for every race they get an extra 150 grand to use on top of their spending cap.
So a sprint
Ooh.
counts as a race that they get that money for.
Yeah, they get paid out. So I think that like no matter what, you get like 120 grand, and then if you get points during the sprint race, like you finish 1 through 8th, you get an extra 100 grand on top of that. Or if you're Red Bull, you get the ability to take 1 more kilo away from your car because it's
Yeah. They're just shaving Max's head.
I'll say how are they taking that weight off?
I don't know. They
I mean,
probably
you'd
won't tell
figure
us.
they pack everything in there that they absolutely need. Like, how do they take that weight off?
I don't know. But speaking of the cars, Tyler has something he wanted to bring up.
So we were talking a minute ago about Ferrari making subtle changes to their car. And I'm surprised that Ferrari's doing it, not Haas.
Are we going into
because-
conspiracy corner?
Oh,
Conspiracy Corner with Tyler Kennedy.
it might be conspiracy corner. I saw it in a meme earlier, and I did read a couple news stories about it. 3 teams of which have not been listed, but they think it might be Alpine for one.
I read a
that
thing
came-
that I saw McLaren might have been one of those teams
I
as
think
well.
McLaren too.
They
And
they
then-
mentioned Otmar by name, so it's
Yeah.
it's McLaren, it's Alpine, and it's Austin Martin.
yeah.
How can Otmar?
So
Throw
Because
out
he's
a-
grasping at fucking strides. He's got nothing to lose except for his job. So
Yeah, no
he's gotta
shit.
get. He's
Well,
gotta do
like
whatever
no,
he
I'm
can.
saying like, didn't he come from a team that pretty much drove
Pretty
a
much.
different.
Yeah.
So
You know, they just threw a
he
live
knows.
rig
So
on
wait,
it.
hold on.
knows.
Before we start
Alright.
chit chatting about it, let me explain what it is.
Yes. Sorry.
Came out in the news today. The 3 teams have lodged a complaint against Haas because they think that the Haas car is very similar to the Ferrari, almost too much similar to like 2 years ago, I think it was, when not the Alpines, the Racing Points were referred to as the pink Ferraris.
Mhm.
Here our first episode,
Excuse me, the pink,
the deep dive,
Mercedes.
to hear more on that.
So that is 3 teams. Those 3 teams that we were just talking about have lodged a complaint against Haas for having a eerily similar car to the Ferrari. And it started, a lot of people were like, Haas is doing really well this season. That seems weird. I think it's because Haas shit the bed last season intentionally.
Yeah.
So they got the most amount of like 1 tunnel testing time and stuff.
So even with like Haas not doing well last race in Australia, like I mean, they didn't even point, did they?
No.
No.
No, I
So
don't
I mean,
think so.
and they're still throwing out complaints. Like
They
had 2 good races, 2 really good races for Haas compared to last year, but with results from last week or the week prior, I mean, I don't see any reason to throw out a complaint. So you
Not
see,
yet.
maybe after see what happens in Imola, then maybe lodge your complaint. But
yeah, that's kind of my thought. 3 races into the season in a new era. Like I think it was Otmar in one of the news stories that I was reading was talking about. He's like, well, you would think that you would see like the top teams doing really well because they have the manufacturing know-how and everything to do that. So it just seems weird that, Haas was able to come out as strong as they have been. It's like,
like you said,
you guys are trying to distract from the way that like a lot of teams started on the wrong foot this season. They just didn't have it right.
100%.
And they, like you said, they tanked last season to focus on this season.
Right.
And if the results of the first 2 races, I think, speak to that tremendously.
Yeah.
Last week, Australia, I thought was poor performance by Haas. I'm raising questions there, but unless they're finishing, P5 and 6 every race, there's something to like maybe raise some eyebrows about. But they're one car's finishing points, the other one's finishing 11, 12.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good results for a team that 19-20 almost every race last season. So
well, they're also getting
silly to lodge a complaint right now. I think.
I think some of it
Sorry.
could have to do with like this, because so half of winning a race weekend is politics, and that's like a lot what the team bosses do. So I think that sometimes during these things where like people are just so hyper dominant, they lodge these complaints on big weekends to kind of like, to take a thing from football, ice the kicker and give you something else to have to worry about going into the race instead of just going into the race. I mean, we saw it last year.
It's getting in their head a bit.
Yeah, we saw it last year with Christian Horner, who was on the horn with Michael Massey pretty much every single race.
Yeah.
Horner.
And so I thought
what a
it was a bit early to start lodging complaints like that. I will say that, I mean, what do we say? Aston Martin was one of the teams that complained. I know they're getting Mercedes power units. Alpine is Renault. I know Renault had good power units for a while, and then they were quite shitty for a little while. And then who's McLaren getting power units from?
Ferrari, Mercedes. Okay.
Mercedes.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't
Who's getting Ferrari power units?
Haas, Ferrari, and I think that's it.
no, I think AlphaTauri is also getting.
I thought
they. You'd think they would be getting whatever Red Bulls.
Yeah, no, because I thought they were Scuderia AlphaTauri for a while.
So that kind of stuff's so confusing. How like some team, like how like Red Bull and AlphaTauri have, that's what their junior team or whatever.
Mhm.
And then, but they're also involved with Ferrari, and then drivers are, I don't know. It's such a confusing
Yeah.
mismatch of like parts and power units and sponsorships and just money getting traded hands all over the place, and it's weird. It's a weird
Yeah.
sport to get used to. At
Yeah, there's a lot of
the
Yeah,
inner workings part.
The only
Yeah.
two teams using this through my limited Google searching is Haas and Ferrari, because AlphaTauri is using the Red Bull branded motors, which are just Honda motors.
I stand corrected.
For how long is Honda
Till
involved with Red Bull?
2026 is when Red Bull's gonna have their very own.
They're gonna start manufacturing their own power units.
Yeah. Well, I also heard.
Wonder how
Well,
that's
it was
gonna go.
just
Oh,
like
My
gossip
God,
in the press.
people are screaming at us right now. Alfa Romeo.
Oh,
Alfa
yeah.
You're at
Romeo.
the third one. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Ferrari engines, Alfa Romeo,
Oh, okay.
Ferrari, Haas, Mercedes is Mercedes, McLaren, Aston Martin, and Williams. Red Bull is Red Bull and AlphaTauri, and Renault is Alpine.
Okay, cool.
Um,
All right. Now that we got that all situated.
Yeah, now that we forgot about that small team that we all love.
Well, this might have something to do with like the engine building at Red Bull. I had seen some gossip online about how because Porsche wants to get into F1 and how like a Porsche and Red Bull union would look really good.
Yeah. You think so?
I don't know. I mean, I would like to see it, but to build an engine from scratch, and you're not like Mercedes or Ferrari, which has always built like your own engines in house. I think that first season could be real fucking ugly if they don't do it right.
Well,
That's a
but
tall
think about
order.
it. Think about it like this, though. Porsche builds their own motors for their cars, and I think 90% of their cars use the 6-cylinder motors. So they got some experience putting a turbo on a 6-cylinder.
Yeah. So
And
we'll
that
see. But I mean,
Carrera
it's also,
GT that came out a couple years ago, it's got the exhaust coming out the back on the top.
Mhm.
That's got pretty much an F1 setup in there. It's got the KERS in it, and it's got a turbo hybrid motor. I don't know what size it is. I don't think it's a 6-cylinder, but it could be.
So I don't know. I hadn't read into that. I was just throwing it out there that could be something in the works, or I don't know. But at the same time, like to go back the other way, I don't think Red Bull is supposed to. I think we were saying that they're not going to start using their own in-house engine until 2026.
Mhm.
That's like 4 years of engine development.
Yeah.
That's a substantial amount of time to work some kinks out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's true.
Yeah. So did we finish on the Haas Ferrari scandal?
Yeah, that's it. It's just the beginning of it. I'm hoping by the next time we podcast, we might have some more information about it to see if it all goes away or if there's something to it.
There wasn't a whole lot that was coming out of it just yet. So
no, I think it was just announced today.
Yeah.
If there is something there, I wouldn't be surprised, because I learned this in one of the news stories that I was reading. Ferrari's F1 headquarters and Haas F1 headquarters.
Oh yeah, Haas moved.
Are right fucking next to each other.
Yeah, they moved. That's what it was. That's why
Yeah.
Gunter Steiner said like anybody can come and take a look at our operation.
Yeah, and he's
We're
like,
not sharing whatever things.
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
he's like,
But
we're
yeah.
not allowed the next door. The door's locked. We're not allowed to go next door. I'm like, well, they could fucking email you shit. Like,
Yeah,
you don't have to fucking go next door and ask them for a cup of sugar or something. Like they're fucking neighbors.
I mean, the way the world's so small now, even though emails can be sent from far and wide. So I mean,
Yeah.
regardless of that's kind of silly, but I mean,
kind of like between
the
Germany
proximity,
and
like-
Canada.
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe they're doing Bonnie and Clyde shit where they're just throwing Coke bottles over each other's fences to communicate. And shit.
I saw the side by side of the two cars looking straight on, and first thing I noticed was the arm that holds the mirror on the Ferraris is straight, but Haas's goes like that.
Oh,
like,
okay. So that's the only fucking difference on the
That's the
cars.
first
is
one
how
I
the
noticed.
fucking mirrors are attached.
That's the first one. There's a lot of aerodynamics behind that. Anyway, the second thing I noticed is that small thing that you see when you look at the front of the cars, the fucking
antennas.
no. The side pods are not the same shape at all. So that just should tell you that they're not the fucking same.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have two different
Haas
minor,
doesn't have that big
albeit
fishbowl.
minor items that are different.
I would not call the side pods a minor item.
Are you talking about the
That's-
side pods or like the wheel things?
The side pods.
Side pods. Those
All
things
right,
are
all right,
big
that's
chunks of the car. So.
Yeah, the whole body of the car.
Yeah.
Also, one is white and the other is red. One reflects.
Yeah,
the light
that's like
spectrum
with
differently.
Mercedes and Racing Point the other year. One was silver, one was black. I mean, the other one was pink.
They're
huge
totally
difference.
different.
But
Yeah.
we're not seeing, and we touched on this a little earlier. We're not seeing the drastic performance like we did
No.
when there was a pink Mercedes driving around.
It's
the
true.
course.
Yeah.
That's true. That
Racing
was-
Point was more dominant than they ever were when they were at that.
Out of
Yeah.
fucking nowhere.
And
Yeah.
they went a little more than 3 races into the season before someone had filed a complaint about him.
Well, here we are at 3 races into the season.
Yeah.
Yep.
Filed a complaint.
And it's the new racing director is just like, fuck, I thought all the controversy was going to happen last year. Here the fuck we are.
I just
thought
think
it was
it's
gonna
fun-
be an easy job.
I just think it's funny as Otmar is one of the guys that's throwing out that complaint.
Yeah, no
'Cause,
shit.
yeah, he's got some experience. All right.
It's just like they can check our brake ducts. They can see that they're different. Or-
Yeah.
No, he's gonna say like, look at more than just their brake ducts or some shit like that.
I don't. Otmar seems like the kind of person who would give away company secrets to a call girl he picked up for his hotel.
Yeah, I bet that was the whole reason he got hired on at Alpine. It was just like, all right, what can you tell us about Racing Point? And then after a season, they're like, bye bye,
Yeah.
go away.
All right. So
Mhm.
should we
Anyway, so-
move on to Imola?
Let's talk about
Imola.
Let's talk about
Imola.
We got a
Imola?
race coming up, and it's at Imola.
It's at Imola.
Talk about it.
Which so I did a little bit of research into
7
Imola,
hours worth of research.
Yeah,
which
Jesus.
was not a lot.
Which it was good.
I mean,
thorough
it's-
research. I'm gonna say like 7 hours is good because otherwise, if you had looked at the Wikipedia page for 45 minutes, like I would have been like, yeah, it's a racetrack in Italy. Somebody died there, and
It's
now we race there again.
it's a
Just
lot.
wait till you hear about the fucking 94
Yeah.
Grand Prix.
I was
It
saying,
is
it
a
is,
wild ride.
It is a lot of research for this little grassroots, as you like to call it, podcast.
Yeah, podcast. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was actually kind of fun to do research on a track, which I think I might do next time. There's a week in between. I might just do a little thing on the track before. So,
We'll get on into it.
let's talk about Imola. So, Imola
Let's
is
get it on.
the name of the small town that the track is in. The closest major city is Bologna.
Baloney. Oh, they should have called it the Baloney track. That'd have been awesome.
Yeah, it's
And
the
this-
big
the
Ostermeyer.
It might only be
Its
funny to
neighboring city
Americans.
is
I don't
called
know.
Salami, and it's to the north of Genoa.
Yeah,
We love some
pretty much.
Genoa
Well, yeah,
salami.
Genoa is
All good meats
another
come from
place
Italy.
in Italy.
Another good town to visit is mozzarella, and
I like rigatoni.
yeah,
There's-
Rigatoni's a great place.
There's a town to the northwest of Bologna called Bazzano, and then there's one just to the south of
Bazzano
that
sounds like a really
Big-
terrible, like old school term for like boobs. Like, let me see those Bazzanos. Hey,
Those-
oh, hey.
those huge molecular kunkas. There's also another town called Vignola, which I thought was kind of fun.
I think it's probably like Vignola.
I like Vignola better.
Vignola.
We're gonna
Vignola.
go to Vignola.
Well, if you're
and-
Italian,
like-
be Vignola.
The fucking most American thing.
yeah, you gotta. You have
Vignola.
We're trying to get
really
to
get that in
Vignola.
there. Jesus.
What in cracky fuck was that?
That was Kristen slamming her heel into the coffee table. The coffee
Jesus
table
Christ.
Just
So
Remember, if anyone asks tomorrow, you fell down the stairs.
recorded.
yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
All right.
No, you didn't. It was off camera.
All right, Imola. So it was first built in 53. Also this is Ferrari's home circuit.
Imola is. For some
Imola.
reason, I
Southern
thought
one.
Monza was.
Everyone
like
does, and I think that Ferrari also claims that. I think anything that happens in Italy,
in Italy is Ferrari.
circuit.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
we
this
have
one-
the Pope. We're Ferrari.
I'm pretty sure this one is the closest to the actual plant that they
Does
make.
that
the
mean
cars.
it's Haas's home race too?
I guess so. Now it is. Yeah, so it mostly did motorcycle races and bicycle races. There's a lot of bicycle races that happen around this track.
Really?
Jesus. Yeah.
Yes. So in its most recent configuration, it is a little over 3 miles long, and there's about 19 corners in it. It's a classic. It's a counterclockwise circuit, which is interesting. And unlike a lot of tracks, this one almost has an equal amount of left and right handers. Obviously, it's got
Really?
one more left-hander, so it can finish
Complete the
circuit,
circle. Yeah.
but, yeah, it's got 10 lefties and 9 righties, and that's kind of fun. So there's a lot of blah blah stuff. I don't remember. Well, everyone's just going to be caring about the 94 thing. So
6 hours of
Yada,
Jake's
yada, yada.
research was
So, yada, yada.
I'm trying to collect myself.
In 1950s. Yada yada yada.
I am trying.
1994.
I am trying to collect myself because I can't stop thinking of that comment I made off camera. It's just so fucking funny, and I don't know
For all you out there, I'll probably put that in a Patreon episode.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll save it for later.
Save it for later. It's so perfect though. I also can't read my own handwriting because I scratched like a chicken.
Stop it. Your handwriting was Times New Roman.
Yeah, it was.
You can't read Times New Roman? What
It
the
was.
fuck?
It was Times New Roman for the last time I did research. This time I couldn't get my word to work, so I had to write with my fountain pen on this fucking piece of paper.
Oh goodness gracious! These fucking chicken
This
scrabbles that
splotch
look
of
like
ink
the
and-
Cyrillic alphabet.
So the name of the track was something, but I can't remember. But it was renamed.
Can you not remember it, or you can't read your own fucking handwriting?
To be honest, I didn't write it down. Because I like the new name a lot better than the old one. The old one was named after a region that it's not even in, which I thought was silly.
Oh, that's kind of silly, yeah.
But now it's got one of the coolest names, I think, of an F1 track ever. It is known as the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, which is named after
Enzo
Enzo's son, Dino
Oh.
Ferrari.
Dino.
I thought,
It's
I thought his
Alfred.
whole.
Yeah, I thought that was like his whole.
I thought the whole
Spanish- or
name was
Italian
the son
title.
of Enzo Ferrari.
I think his son's name was Alfred Dino Ferrari, and he died of leukemia when he was 24.
Oh, bummer.
Oh.
Yeah,
Bummer.
major
So
bummer.
it's like a memorial track kind of thing.
Kinda.
Or
Well, they had
was it named?
more than one person. Now. But
Oh,
the
yeah.
thing,
The
he just
catch-all
named it
memorial
after his
track.
kid. I don't know. So in 63, the first F1 race happened at the racetrack. So it was built in 53. 63 was the first F1 race, but it was a non-championship race. It was just because I guess they had those back in 63.
Yeah, we
Um,
had talked about that
so-
a while ago. We did
so-
like the history of F1
Yeah.
when someone
Yeah.
could just show up and be like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna race in Italy and
Right.
that's it.
pretty loosey
I'm out.
goosey back then.
Mhm.
So for that 10 years prior to F1 starting there, what was it used for? Just other types
pretty
of
much
auto
every
racing, or-
other kind of
You said a lot of
powered racing, yeah.
motorcycle racing.
A lot of motorcycle racing, a lot of open wheel racing that wasn't technically F1.
I say I think
NASCAR was there too, and they put dirt on it into dirt track racing as well.
Yeah,
I think MotoGP still races on it, right?
they do.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, big MotoGP track. And then in 1980, it hosted the Italian GP for the first time. So Monza hosts the Italian GP officially. And this GP that's happening tomorrow, I don't believe is the Italian quote unquote GP. I could be 100% wrong about that, but I think Monza still is.
I think Monza is still the Italian GP.
But there was a contract argument with the Monza people 1980. So they said, all right, fuck you guys. We're going to go to this old track, which is in the middle of town. And I cannot stress this enough how it is in the middle of town. It is, the town exists around it. There's a small river that goes around 3/4 of the track. The track has people living in the infield and have property. Like there's an orchard or two. There's a pizza restaurant.
Can they do what they want?
In the middle of Imola and just fucking hating motorsports.
You're just trying to get home and people want your pass.
Can those people, like, since they own that property, can they sell tickets and have people hang out?
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, that'd be awesome. And some woman's like, I'm making you a lasagna. And you're like, fuck yeah. And you just drink like Italian wine or Italian beer, just hork lasagna while you're watching cars zoom by.
There's a pizza restaurant. There's a pizza restaurant, right? It's at the end of a access road that goes almost around the whole track. And this is between the last two turns. It's like this restaurant, and then it's turns 18 and 19. And if you are sitting on the little patio, it is small parking lot, and by a small I mean like maybe 10 spots total. A small old Italian 1-lane road, a concrete barrier, and then the racetrack.
Nice.
Damn.
And they are open during GP because
of course,
yeah,
that's probably the busiest time.
No shit.
There's a spot next to Circuit of the Americas that backed up to someone's property, and it goes like track, fence, and then this guy's property, and then he built like a shack so he can go and sit in the shack and just see what's going on the racetrack. There's no grandstands or anything.
That's awesome.
It's right where, you know, when they come up, make that uphill left turn, and they kind of come down around and start making that. That's like a right-hand turn. It's over by that right-hand turn.
Right.
Yeah.
For those of you that have an autistic ability to think of Circuit of the Americas and know exactly what I'm talking about.
Rain Man.
Yeah, if you're Rain Man. Not that we have any problem with people who have autism. We support everyone on this podcast.
All right. So like I said, Imola started in 53, first GP race in 1980, but it was a non-championship race because they were pretty willy-nilly about all that kind of shit back then. It got picked back up in, I don't remember what year. So they were racing, so they kept racing there after 1980, but it wasn't the Italian GP. It was just another GP on the roster.
Monza got the title of Italian GP.
So we cannot talk about Monza without talking about Tamburello.
Talking about Monza.
Sorry, we can't talk about Imola without talking about Tamburello. Now, back in the day, so after the start, there's a slight left-hander that the cars are going to get, like, you're going to be in 8th gear going full tilt bug by the end of there. It used to continue, and it used to just be a thin concrete wall and then a river. And so the first chicane, which if you didn't know what a chicane is, it's just a quick left, right, left, or right, left, right. It used to just not exist. And so the cars were going like fucking pushing the sound barrier, basically going around this damn thing. And it was a banked turn. It was rough. So the cars would bounce like crazy. And this is back in the day. So in 87, this guy, and I had his name, but I wrote it down here as PK for some reason. He crashed due to tire failure in there, and it was that's when they're like, this might be a little dangerous. Gerhard Berger died, or he didn't die, sorry. He had front wing damage, and he hit the wall around Tamburello, and it caused a fire in his car. And so the marshals were able to get out there and rip him out of he was driving a Ferrari, ripped him out of his Ferrari. He had some pretty significant burns to his hand, but only missed one GP before he started racing again. And then he fast forward to the weekend race in 94. This was the darkest weekend in F1 history, and not just because the elephant in the room, Senna. It was for a lot of other reasons too.
Yeah.
So, in 94 during free practice 3, Barrichello launched over the curb and he landed on top of the tire barrier.
What was his name?
Barrichello. Rubens Barrichello.
Rubens?
Yeah.
No. I don't okay, sorry, go on.
Yes. Barrichello. Yeah, Rubens Barrichello. And he's hospitalized after the crash. So that's free practice 1. During a qualifying session, in the pits, a wheel. This was either the qualifying or the race. I can't remember which. A wheel came off one of the cars and slid in the pits. Wheel came off one of the cars and hit an entire pit crew, injuring a lot of them.
Jesus.
In the qualification,
cursed weekend.
We're not
even practice. We're not even done yet.
So the Barrichello crash, it knocked him unconscious, and if not for the quick actions of the medical team of marshals, he would have died at the track. But they got him out and they got him to the hospital.
Good deal.
On Saturday during qualification, Ratzenberger crashed head on into the wall at 190 miles an hour and died on impact from a Brasler skull fracture. I totally butchered that name, but that's when the top of the spine detaches from the bottom of the skull.
So you basically decapitate yourself.
Pretty much. It was like a non-lacerating decapitation, and he fucking died immediately.
Man. That's fucked up.
During the start of the race on Sunday, because I didn't shut the weekend down, there was a crash on the start finish line, and pieces of the front wing of one of the cars flew into the crowd, injuring spectators.
Oh, God damn it.
And then later that race, Anton Senna was on that same part of the track. I'm going to try and find myself in my writing here. He hit the wall, and so there's video of the crash, and it's almost haunting the way it happens, because you can see his head bobble around, and there's nothing. So he hits the wall doing a full court press down the track, and it totally with the initial impact doesn't look that bad. It really does. I mean, he hits the wall going so fast, but we've seen crashes like that. But then
that's all camera angles.
Yeah, it's all camera angles.
The way it looked. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I seen it a bunch of times.
The car spins, and you could almost just see his head kind of just going like this.
Yeah.
They say he died at the hospital, but people on the ground said that motherfucker was dead in the car.
Yeah. Because he showed no sign of any kind of life, and the camera was on his car like for a while the marshals were running there, and he wasn't there. There was no movement. I mean, he could have been knocked out maybe, but And was it I think it was in the Schumacher documentary,
because
that
he was racing Schumacher when it happened.
Yeah,
they covered it in. There was a Senna documentary that covered it too.
Yeah, I remember he said he had no idea,
no, because he was just
even
racing
that bad until
no one did really. I mean, what the people on the track knew, and they posthumously took him in the helicopter for looks, but I think that they were just really trying to avoid another death on the track, like for them to say, why didn't you shut this weekend down? That's why they said he died in the hospital, but he didn't. He died.
See, I was unaware of the previous fatality in early, Saturday or whatever it was.
And so go on.
I was just gonna say, it's like if you've seen the Senna documentary, and I think they covered it, the Schumacher documentary too, which admittedly I'm only halfway through right now.
What?
Yeah, me too.
That is required reading.
It is
watching. Sorry.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. I mean, it's not hard to watch. No. It was difficult to watch because he's just racing, and you're watching the onboard cameras, and you know that he is half a lap away from dying, but
Yeah.
he has no idea.
That's the thing. It is hard to watch just because of that fact.
Yeah.
You know, that's his last moments on Earth, and you're watching it. Yeah, it's a little hard to watch if you know the context of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But Senna died doing what he loved. He was racing.
Yeah, he was,
So-
and he was racing when he was so people
Cut short too.
Yeah, well, he's a 4-time world champion. People are saying he's on the way to being like the best racer ever. We'll never know. I mean,
No.
he could have been,
He
but
got a McLaren named after him.
he did it.
Yeah.
He got a McLaren named
He did.
after him. There's a couple of shrines on the track that are dedicated to him. Yeah, just really unfortunate what happened, and because of that, that's when they put the chicane after it, mostly to slow people down, because too slow moving corners will bunch the pack up and slow them down. And and
oddly enough, I find that chicane coming out of that, going down that little straight, and then going into that next with little, whatever that is. That's a chicane, right?
that's another
Anyway,
chicane.
Yeah, hitting that. I can't do it in with a paddle. I need a steering wheel, I feel. But anyway.
It's definitely interesting doing that part of the track. But yeah, that was what I was gonna say next. I was gonna talk about layout of the track and lap times and all that stuff.
One last thing on the 94 race, I did catch this from the Schumacher documentary. Like, after they had restarted the race and had finished it, I think at that point everyone knew that Senna was dead, and they're like, no celebrations.
Right.
We're done with this weekend. No champagne.
This weekend is bullshit.
We're not fucking doing this. And it resonated. Senna's death had resonated so far, even back in the States, because I remember reading about this a while ago. There was a NASCAR race that Sunday, and Dale Earnhardt had won. And when Dale Earnhardt was driving around the doing his victory lap, he had a Brazilian flag he held out the window of his car.
That's good.
Which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Another racer who also met a really unfortunate death. And
well,
I watched that race.
Yeah.
I watched that race.
We watched most of the race.
Oh, that's right. We turned it off.
We went to the BMX bike track.
Yes.
And missed it.
After Earnhardt's death, didn't they devise that?
Yeah, they got the head locking.
Because that's what killed him.
There's a name for that. What the hell do they call it?
I don't know. But he hit the wall, and whatever it did, it like almost, like you said, it like
tweaked his neck.
Without cutting his head off, it decapitated him almost.
Yeah.
Just
that was another crash that didn't look like it was that fast, but
shows that
the G forces that happen are pretty incredible, are dangerous.
Incredibly dangerous.
Yes,
super dangerous.
Yes. That's why I hate getting attached to these drivers, because like, man, any time their number, their ticket could get punched. And that's scary, but it's so fun to watch.
But nowadays, I mean, I
don't want to see crashes. I'm not that kind of fan.
With the design of the cars, like, I'm not going to say that it's incredibly dangerous still, but with the way the cars are designed, like we saw Verstappen go I don't know, like 120 straight into a wall.
Yeah, they're designed.
Monaco,
they're designed
got out and walked away,
to where those cars absorb almost all of that velocity and that G-force, to where it's going to crumple and absorb that, to where the G-forces are a lot less on the cockpit. So it's like crumple zones, I guess.
Quick correction, Tyler, it was Silverstone.
No, go fuck yourself. It was Silverstone and it was Monaco, but it was not Monaco last year. It was Monaco like in 2017.
When did he bash into the wall in 2017?
That's before my time.
In Monaco, it was like right, when they come where the start finish line is, where they're coming down that straightaway, and then you make that right hand turn going up the hill.
No, I think the only crash I remember him doing was when didn't he clip the wall with one of his tires and explode the tire? And then he
went straight into a wall in Monaco.
No, I'll have to look that up.
I'll send you the link once we're done here. But yeah, he was coming on the straightaway and he hit someone or something and skidded straight into the wall, but it was a tire barrier.
So that was what, 2007?
No, 2017 or 18 or something like that.
Well, Anyway, so let's talk about the track. It's we already talked about it a little bit. It's got a couple of chicanes and all that. All types of racing happens on this. Everything from Formula One, GP1, Le Mans, MotoGP, bicycle races. They've even have some foot races on the track before.
That'd
yeah,
be fun.
Just whatever you want. And to kind of give you an idea, because we touched on this every once in a while when we talk about this stuff, nothing corners like this like an F1 car, nothing at all. And you can go to Imola to kind of look at that because they do so many different races. Not like any other. So like certain F1 tracks might only do like Formula One cars or Formula whatever. This does a lot of shit. So the fastest lap on it, the modern representation of it, is Lewis Hamilton, done in 2020, and his lap time was 1 minute 15.484.
You know what's so crazy about that is like MotoGP fucking bikes are so nimble and quick, and I mean, but they can't compete with the downforce and overall speed.
They can't corner the same.
No, it's
with the downforce.
You would think like a motorcycle with just being so small and you're able to tilt like that. You just can't.
Yeah,
you can't do it. Like
when you watch those, the MotoGP guys go into corners, a really hard one. They will break and are just on the front wheel. Like they'll endo into a turn sometimes.
Do you want to know how fast?
Fucking nuts watching that shit in slow mo too.
Yeah.
Chaz Davis took his Ducati Panigale V4R and around.
Bikes.
Yeah, beautiful bikes. You want to know how fast he went around Imola?
How fast?
Now this one, it says here that the Grand Prix that Lewis Hamilton went around was 4.909 kilometers, and this is 4.936 kilometers. So we'll say that. But he cornered at 1 minute 45.
Wow.
30 seconds slower than Lewis Hamilton.
Damn.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a model in a nutshell. It's a pretty fun track. There's not a lot of passing opportunities because it's so narrow. It's an older track. But it's got, I think 2 DRS zones on it. And it should make for a really interesting race. I mean, the one that happened last year in the wet was pretty interesting. So
yeah.
And like I said, we got a good chance of having this one in the wet. So
yeah.
Someone might be out for revenge this time in an Alfa Romeo.
Yes. And they got a competing chance of being in the same little group.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Well, boys, we didn't do it last week, so we better get it done this week. Let's do our predictions for this weekend.
All right. Who wants to go first?
Well, you know what? Since nobody else said anything and I spoke up because I've had some drinks. Welcome to the club. I got a prediction, maybe 2. So I'll go with my prediction I had from early today. I came up with it. Actually, I was going to wear my wife's McLaren shirt for today, but it didn't fit me right. It was a little too restricting. So I was going to say, I think McLaren's going to have a strong weekend. They showed a lot last week in Australia, or not last week, but in Australia.
Last race.
Yeah, in Australia. And I don't know if a lot of that was because, Ricciardo's home turf and first time they're back in Australia since 2019. So it's been a few years. I don't know if that had like they were riding a little bit of a wave, but I feel like McLaren's going to come in this weekend pretty strong. Probably, definitely I'm going to say Q3 for at least one of their cars and points for both. So that's my prediction. I'm going to go ahead and say that's my wild card too, because that's a little wild.
We're opening all into one.
Yeah, so I'm going to rope them all into one, say McLaren gets at least one car Q3 and both cars in the points.
All right. Well, I'm going to say this is a big weekend for Ferrari. They're on top. That's been a while. They're going to be on home turf, home field advantage. However, home stress disadvantage.
True.
My my wild card and my true prediction are exact opposites of each other. My true prediction, my hope is Ferrari brings home a 1-2. I don't care if it's Leclerc or Sainz. I kind of hope a wee more for McLaren to win, only because he's ahead in the points. If it was the other way around, it would totally be Sainz in the first. He needs a W for sure.
Yeah.
So I would not be mad about it.
Needs a booster.
Yes, but I don't know. I feel like every time you're up, you got to fall. And what better place for Ferrari to do it? They've been dominant all season. They've been doing good shit. Something out of there. I don't think it'll be from their upgrades. I think it'll be once they hit that first or that second chicane on lap 1. I think that something catastrophic is going to happen, because those are two really heavy choke points and it's very hard to get past cars there.
So something out of their control kind of thing.
Something out of their control. I think Red Bull's going to not have enough time to get their upgrades done properly, only because it's a sprint weekend. Regular weekend, I wouldn't even be sweating it, but it's a sprint weekend. Now, we've seen Red Bull mechanics do miracles before, but I don't know if they can pull this one off. It's a brand new wing on the front. They're taking weight out of the car. They don't even know how it's going to be balanced. You know, you could have not enough downforce or weight in the car going into the turns and fuck up your braking zones. Who knows? And I think Mercedes, if they put those big pods on the side, is also going to be suffering a lot because of the massive changes and the lack of time to get used to them.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Solid.
My predictions, I think the machine is going to keep marching on. I think Leclerc is going to end up first place, or on the podium at least. I think that Imola, with being as long and having all the straightaways as it has, I think this is going to be a testament to their straight line speed, both Ferrari and Red Bull. I think that it is going to be either Verstappen, Red Bull on the top of the podium, with a huge gap between third place. I believe third place will be Sergio Perez.
So who's your first? So Leclerc first, Verstappen second, large gap between Perez.
Yeah, if that, or Verstappen. I think Verstappen will come out swinging this race. I think
comes out swinging every race.
Yeah, I think they might. I think everything will line up for them after the first couple races of frustration. The side pods, I think, over at Mercedes are going to plague both of them. I don't think they're going to get it right, so I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't see them as competitive. Be in the point, at least one of them in the points. So that's kind of that. I think my wild card prediction is a big wreck going into one of the turns, and maybe Leclerc and Verstappen don't finish the race, and then Sergio Perez will get taken out. Wild card is Sergio Perez winning the race.
Oh,
what about Carlos Sainz? You haven't mentioned him at all. You put Sergio Perez in there.
Sainz will get and the first one, Sainz will get fourth place. He'll just be off the podium. That'll be okay. So be happy with his result. My wild card is a wreck. Something. Sergio Perez wins the race. Maybe Carlos Sainz second, and then who else on? And maybe, I don't know, fuck it, just for fun, let's say that Fernando Alonso gets on the podium, so it's an all Spanish podium.
It'd be like back in, I think it was 07. It might have been, I'm getting the year wrong, but when he had his career defining win at Imola, where he defended his position for 3 laps against Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, he was just talking about it on Instagram today. So I think he'll have the experience, nasty wreck or something. They'll get it figured out. So that's my wild card prediction.
All right, cool. Well, this time, this kind of brings us to the end of the podcast this week. It was kind of a more casual one. I wish I had gotten more information on Imola and written it out a little bit better. But hey,
no, I think you did a great job on that.
You get what you get. This is still grassroots. We're still pretty new at this whole stuff. So, we are going to be recording shortly after the race. I'm not sure when this one's going to come out because Dave's a busy man. So it'll get released.
I'm free in the evenings, so it doesn't
Perfect.
matter. Yeah, in the evenings.
And then we'll record as soon as we can after the race to give you a review on that.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to slide into doing our social media plugs. So you can find me on Instagram, even though I never post there, at @the_red_Kennedy45, and on Twitter at the Red Kennedy 45. You can find the podcast on Twitter at the Preference Pod. We're going to set up an Instagram thing. You can find it also on YouTube if you're listening to this in the future, and found us on a streaming site. You can find us on YouTube at the Tire Preference Podcast on YouTube. You can find Dave at Featuring Friday. It's a fun little thing. Oh my God. And I completely forgot from the intro. Dave, where are you?
I'm still in the same place, and I'm going to be here for the next 6 months. So
All right.
I'm still in Colorado, central Colorado, in the mountains, enjoying nice mountain streams and living outdoors and having fun working at a local campground in Central
Perfect.
Colorado.
Nice.
Well, not to bore the people, so we'll check in maybe once a month to see how the camping life's doing with you, or maybe we'll just keep doing every week. Yeah, our 14 listeners, let us know.
Yeah.
What do you want to hear? So yeah, you can follow Dave at Featuring Friday. It's a small thing him and his wife do on Instagram. So go give them a follow. And Tyler, I know you like to call it your own social media, so
you can follow me at t.k.66 at Instagram for lackluster Instagram content. And that's it. That's the only really social media that I'm doing. I am going to say keep your foot on the gas, keep pushing, and I have to piss really bad, so I'm going to let you guys finish it.
all right, I'm gonna say as always, keep within the track limits, whether it's on the racetrack or in life. Just keep within the track limits, and you won't be getting that black and white flag.
And I love you.
Dave still hasn't figured out his outro thing.
That is my outro. I love you all. You're our listeners, and you're listening, and I love you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's good enough. Well, we will let you keep it. I was really hoping you'd turn your music down, but hey.
Turn your music down. Put out that fire. There's a burn.
Right.
Notice.
There's a burn ban. Put out that cigarette. So yeah, we'll see you guys next week. So take care, and yeah, till next week.
Till next week, and we love you.
Yeah, put your comment on something. Put your predictions in the comments, even if the race is already over. Put them in there.
Yeah, we'll look.
We need more comments. Like, subscribe, show
Talk
a
about
friend. Yeah, tell a friend about it. Have them subscribe, like our videos. It really helps us a lot. We're trying to build a brand, and eventually, very soon, hopefully, within the next 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to be on the streaming sites. So
Yes.
That's good for streaming sites. I'm back, by the way. I thought I was, yeah.
all right, well, good enough.
Ready to go.
We're long-winded.
We are long-winded.
Yeah,
Can you tell we're trying?
As soon as you said, "Oh, Dave's in the Rocky Mountains amongst the flowing, cool rivers," I was like, "Nope, we're done."
All right, buddies. Love you guys. Till next week.
All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Later.